Recently, we've published several recordings on BSP Software's functionality, and we hope you have enjoyed viewing those. Today, we wanted to return to our roots as Cognos professionals, presenting a technique in Report Studio to bring additional value to your organization's reporting initiative. My name is Charlie Peterson, Account Executive with Brightstar Partners and BSP Software. Welcome to the podcast. To start, I must give honor and credit to where it is due. Greg Jungles, one of our Cognos BI consultants, recently published a technical paper on how to create a standard report template in Report Studio. And it received such positive feedback, we felt it appropriate to publish a podcast on that functionality. You can create a template and save it as a report view or template, and users can open that and use it. Greg took it a step further, thinking, hey, users may not remember where that is in the content store. Essentially, what we need is a best practice for report templates. I will be referencing Greg's paper many times throughout the recording today, and you can find this paper at our services website at www.brightstarpartners.com, navigating to the About Us section, Newsletters, September issue. Let's begin these first steps together, working through this technical paper on how to create that standard report template in IBM Cognos. As we navigate down, the first steps would be to create the template. You can either do this from scratch, or Greg suggests possibly converting an existing report to a template, as you can see here listed under the File menu. And you can do just whichever makes the most sense for your organization. And really where we will be starting is after step 4, once you have saved that file. First thing we will do is from the Tools menu, copy the report to the clipboard and paste it into an XML editor. And from there, we'll delete 3 different attributes within the XML. First, the XML-NS attribute, which looks like this. Secondly, the template attribute. And finally, the name attribute. Going out to Cognos, I'll drill down into my podcast folder, and I have actually already created a template that I've titled the BSP template. And as I open that up, essentially I've just added some very simple text items as well as our company logo and email disclaimer down at the bottom. And of course we couldn't forget some impressive slogan in the middle. From our Tools dropdown, we can copy this to clipboard, open up Notepad and paste this in. You will remember we need to delete this XML-NS attribute. Secondly, the template attribute. And finally, the page attribute. Going back out to the paper, we can see that we've just performed steps A, B, and C. Moving along to step 7, we must add a template element as the root of the document. The root element is the first element in the XML document. As mentioned above, XML must be well formed. When adding the template element, be sure to add the closing tag at the end of the document. Note that the closing tag has a slash preceding it. Back in XML editor, we will perform that task, adding this template root to the beginning and navigating to the bottom of this. We will do the same thing, adding that /. Step 8 is to add a name attribute to the template element. This name will appear in Report Studio's File a New dialog box. So I'll simply copy this from Greg's paper and go out to Notepad and paste this in. Finally, step 9 is to save this new template specification as a .xml file. Here I'll be saving it in my Brightstar Partners podcast folder, and I will name this BSP_template.xml. I'll save this, and if I navigate back out to Windows Explorer and run this, it should open it up in my web browser. And cue the music. Wah, wah, wah. Something has gone amiss, and I'll admit that this was a rabbit trail I was leading you on to make a point. That as you are performing this task using this document, I want you to make sure that when you copy this information, this template name, if you're going to start out by just using the template that we have given you here, this naming convention, to make sure to not use these double quotation marks that are listed here on the web page, as when they are expressed here in Notepad, it will not recognize them as double quotation marks. So make sure that you delete that and replace it by true double quotation marks. We'll resave that and run this again. And here we see our XML file loaded into Internet Explorer. Looking at next steps, we're going to be adding our new template to the templates.xml file. Open the templates.xml file located in this location and copy the complete XML code from the steps above into that templates.xml file. Here I've navigated out to that specific location, and here's that templates.xml file. I will open up a new instance of Notepad and drag this in. Here we can see that this XML has some resources and it has many templates throughout. We will navigate down to the bottom of this XML to this last templates, add a few spaces in. We'll go back out to our BSP template.xml, and we will go ahead and copy all of this to paste in to the new file. So I've pasted in that new information, and I'll go ahead and save over this. The next step in our document is adding an icon for your new template. You can use any standard 32 by 32 pixel .gif file, and we'll be copying that file into the C10 location web content / pat images directory. And prior to the podcast, prior to recording today, I just went out to Google Images, found a 32 by 32 that I liked, and saved that into this file. You can use whatever you have on hand. And so this is what I have, just this orange check mark here. So that's what I'll be shooting for later on when we add this new icon into the report template options. Let's go back out to our document and see what the last steps are going to be. And we're looking at adding the template information to the resources.xml file. Open the resources.xml file located in the C10 location patres directory, just like before. And we're going to be adding a new list item element to the list view ID equals new. And this is important. Ensure that the template name attribute is exactly the same as the name attribute of the template element in the templates.xml file from above. And for this example, we're using the label attribute instead of the IDS label attribute because we're only concerned, we're not concerned rather, with multiple languages. If you require multiple languages, you can refer to the Cognos admin and security guide. So first, I have this new instance of Notepad open. I'm going to go ahead and navigate to that patres resources.xml file and copy that over. And go ahead and navigate down to where we find that new list item ID equals new. Come back out to our document and copy this information that we'll be pasting into this. So we'll simply copy, come out to our XML file, and paste in. We want to make sure also that all of this information is correct. This list item labeled BSP standard report, we know that is true. Our icon has this labeled as BSP Software logo.gif. That is actually not correct, a fault of my own. That is actually BSP underscore template underscore icon .jpg. And the template name equals BSP Software Standard Report. Let's go ahead and cross-check and make sure that that is true. Template name equals BSP Software Standard Report. Now looking at last things, let's take a look at step 3, referring to the resources.xml file. If you want your template to be first in the dialog box, paste it into the file directly below the list items element, which is precisely what we did. Otherwise, paste it elsewhere in the list, being careful as to not disrupt any other list item elements. So let's go back to the resources.xml. Here is the start custom template and the information that we just pasted in. Let's go ahead and cut that, and we're going to post that directly below blank but above list. And that's where it's going to appear in the report options when opening Report Studio. So there it has been added in the correct spot. As we look at the different report options that are available, keep in mind at this point you can modify this information or delete this information. We'll save our resources.xml. Let's come back out to Cognos and launch Report Studio. And here we can see that the BSP standard report icon is visible and something that we can select to work with. And here is that initial template that we built out at the beginning of the podcast. So again, this is a very simple, practical, value-added best practice that you can be using within your organization and standardizing the look and feel of your reports. You can add text items, logos, disclaimers, etc. And we have found this very useful out in the field as our consultants are out doing engagements. Out at our website at brightstarpartners.com, you will find a wealth of information on who we are as an organization and the types of professional services and implementation-based software offerings we provide. If you navigate to the About Us newsletters and select the September 2011 edition, you will find the technical paper written by Greg Jungles on standardizing report templates that we went through today. Also, if you're traveling out to Las Vegas for the Information on Demand conference, we would love to have you come by our booth and say hello. We'd love to answer any questions you may have about our services or software. And finally, we are currently hiring Cognos experts as Cognos consultants here at Brightstar. So we would love to receive your resumes and cover letters at contact@brightstarpartners.com. Again, I am Charlie Peterson, Account Executive of BSP Software, and on behalf of all of us at Brightstar Partners and BSP Software, thank you for watching.